It's Emily from Fit and Wellness. Welcome back to the channel. Today, Pete Ciccone, IFBB Pro Bodybuilder, is going to take me through a back workout. So we like to train my back at least 2 to 3 times a week, just to make sure that I have a nice V-taper when I go on stage to create that hourglass shape. So before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and enjoy the show.
All right, guys, today we're going to start with back. Upper body to create that V-taper, as I was saying, really comes from 2 areas. The delts, especially the rear delts and medial delts, and the upper lats, all the way down to the lower lats. So we build a complete back musculature. So we're going to start with wide grip pull down.
Right. So when you're doing this exercise, you want to make sure that your arms are a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. I don't like to go too wide, at least for my first set. So I just go a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. And then when you're sitting here, you want to make sure that your chest is up, back is straight, sitting up nice and tall. You're going to drive the elbows down, squeeze just under the armpits, bring the bar down just below chin level, exhale at the bottom, and stretch at the top. Okay, guys, so we're going to do a pullover, cable pullover here. We're going to use this mag grip. I don't really know why.
Well, if you think about the position of the hands, if the hands are with an overhand grip, the tendency for the elbows, as you can see, is to drift out a little bit. That takes some of the stress and puts it in the middle part of the lat. If you flip and you use an underhand grip, or if you actually, in this case, flip the bar, so you can use underhand grip, when you're coming down, the elbows are actually coming more closer towards the torso. We can get a really good squeeze. But we're going to do that with the second exercise. We're going to actually use reverse grip, drive the elbows in, and that's going to stimulate more lower lat and inner back. So we will keep this with an overhand grip. That's going to take the stress through a little bit more of the upper middle part of the lat, or it's the lower middle part of the lat, not quite as deep as the reverse grip. You'll notice that by the position of the elbows. That's governed by the force put through the hands.
And when you're doing these, you want to make sure that you either have like a straight elbow or a slightly bent elbow where you're locking it out. Otherwise, if you're doing an elbow flexion, you're going to end up doing a more tricep focused exercise. So the motion is going to kind of look like a skiing motion. You're bringing your elbows back, dropping the shoulders low, and squeezing out the bottom. Again, targeting that under armpit area for that stretch and that squeeze. Push the hips back so that way you can get a little bit more range of motion. Keep that core nice and tight. Slight bend in the knees so you have a little bounce, a little give at the bottom. And keeping the elbows at the same angle the entire time.
In mind with this movement, as you notice, this is a pullover. It's actually an arc motion. It's a circular motion rather than a linear motion. So the force vector actually changes direction in relation to the spine. As you can see, this is the pivot point, the fulcrum being the elbow, where the force delivers from the hands through the elbow. And it's an arcing motion, as you found, as you see with them. She's not pulling straight down. Pulling straight down takes the stress and it keeps it in one angle through the spine, but through the back and the lats. But the arcing motion allows you to stimulate, like she said, with the shoulder motion from the upper lat, and then it brings it down in towards the lower and middle lat with this arcing motion. That's why the pullover is a really cool exercise too. It's a composite exercise, works a lot more of the back than the linear exercise that just transects the spine in one level or one angle. This second exercise of this Superset series is going to target more specifically the lower lats. We're going to make sure we're bringing more emphasis to the lower lats by making note of our hand position in a reverse grip. Reverse grip a little bit closer to center, drops that elbow down more closely to the spine so that the force allows you to actually wrap around the spine with the lat muscle. That brings the stress from the middle part of the lat down to the lower part of the lat. One thing you want to be careful to do is always keep your hips back, your legs are extended, knees are not locked, but the glutes are stuck out. And then as you're pulling back towards the center, you're driving your elbows back. So that way you're keeping your spine at least in the vertical angle rather than arcing and leaning backwards, which is going to change the force vector delivering stress through the middle and upper back, which we don't want. We want to keep the stress delivering right through the middle of the torso, towards the belly button.
And I do want to put this out because I get this question a lot. Whenever you have like these kind of weightlifting straps, you want to go over and under whatever attachment you're using, whichever grip that you're doing. So for example, we're going to be doing an underhand grip with this exercise. So if I grab them onto the bar, I want to position my strap over the bar first, then go under. So the point of these straps is to make sure that you keep one, your wrist locked in the entire time so it's not flimsy. And then also you want to like pretty much glue your hand to the attachment so that there's no invariability or variability, I should say, in the angle of when you're pulling or pushing anything. So again, over, under, and then you just wrap the entire strap until it's nice and tight attached to your hand.
Next exercise we're going to move to exercise number 4. We're going to move to a heavy compound movement, single arm dumbbell row. This is a cool movement because it allows for the athlete to use a little bit more momentum and strength. Because it's a compound movement, we're working a little bit of lower body stabilization, hips, adductors, lower back, stabilization and strengthening. It's a great movement for functionality also. It's going to include bringing the dumbbell from a hanging position, driving it up, keeping the elbow close to the torso. Again, wrapping around lower back, lower lat, mid lat, strengthening and hypertrophy. We're going to keep the rep range somewhere between 10 to 15. We're going to allow the athlete, because it's the end of the back workout component of this training session, to be a little bit more liberal with the form. As long as they're not putting themselves at risk for injury, we want to get a heavy, strong, strengthening movement out of this. But because we put it at the end of the training session, the stabilization component of the body that's working through this heavy movement are fresh. The back is already targeted with the previous exercises. So this will be very much a compound movement focus on lower and middle lat building. It's a good movement to put mass on your body, build strength as well.
Same thing like any other back exercise that we just did. You want to make sure that your shoulder is low, driving the elbows straight back. What I like to think of is the top of the dumbbell is kind of lining up with my belly button as I'm pulling back. The elbow stays nice and tight, close to the body, so we're not drifting out here or back here or anything like that. You want to keep it in a straight line, stretching and squeezing right under that armpit area, squeezing at the back.
One thing to keep in mind, as you see with M demonstrating the form, the torso is about a 45-degree angle or slightly lower. Chest is up, shoulders are back, so that the weight is focused on the gravity or the center of the body, so that you're not really stretching that over the lower back, which is going to put more stress through the lower back. You're keeping that weight centralized through all of the stability of the body. You want to make a triangle base of support when you're doing this motion. If you're going for a more heavy power type situation, you're using the bench with a relatively locked elbow, straight elbow, and a staggered stance that's wide lower body, so that both feet are apart enough that your triangle base of support doesn't make you wobbly. You're nice and stable, and utilizing a little bit of momentum and spring and drive through the pelvis, the hips, and the quads. All right, the next exercise we're going to do are good old-fashioned pull-ups. Challenging, that's why we're going to have a little bit of assistance with the exercise band. Pull-ups are the most probably complete exercise to target the entire back musculature. Ready?
Okay. Oh my God.
How'd it feel?
Those are exhausting.
Good. You know, you want to choose your resistance band, so you're really trying hard to get that target range of motion, so that momentary muscular failure is going to occur somewhere between 7 and 15. Research has shown that that's the most hypertrophy stimulating range of reps that you want to fail at. So somewhere between 7 to 15 is when you're going to stimulate the most muscle growth. And you keep your rest periods short enough so that you can catch your breath and let your heart rate come back down to near normal, but not long enough that burn and fatigue that you feel in the muscles, in the target muscles, fade, because then you just may as well start all over. There you go, there you have it. That's a wrap on back training, upper body workout.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Hope you guys like this workout. Try it, comment below, let us know how you like it, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.